That's good.
Hi, I'm Brad Power, and this is Cancer Patient Lab, and I'm really excited today. We're going to be sharing a project, a product, and a service that we've been developing over the last months. This all goes back, it's a chatbot that it answers questions, new technology, which is using AI, of course, to enable it. This chatbot goes back to a vision from Brian McCluskey, co-founder of the Cancer Patient Lab, which was to look at the transcripts we have. So at this point, you may know that this weekly webinar series that we have has been running for almost 3 years. We have over 150 webinars in our archives. And there's a lot of great information there, but it's difficult to search. There is a search feature on Circle, our community platform. I know how to use it, but probably most people don't. And so if you wanted to find the nuggets of wisdom in there that would help answer your question, it's buried in one of, again, 150 plus webinars. So the idea was, could we not develop an interface that would allow you to ask a question and get the answer that you would find on the transcripts? And that was Brian's idea. There's a technology now which is called RAG, and I don't even know what it stands for. I'm sure there are people who do. Which allows you to let the AI be sort of focused and answer questions based on a body of knowledge. That vision was added to our product roadmap. So the Cancer Patient Lab has a number of products that were identified by work by Sherry Dorfman, also by Brian McCluskey, and also by Debbie Dennis, and some basic research of cancer patients and caregivers to say, what are services that are not on the market that would be valuable to you and that the Cancer Patient Lab could uniquely provide? And those included a journey map. We've got a project going on with that, a services guide, a project we've been working on for some time, and needs and preferences. So a questionnaire that would allow patients and caregivers to articulate their needs and preferences so they could advocate for them in their care decisions. So those projects are all underway, but the number one was the chatbot. And I'll introduce Eric to describe the project, but he graciously agreed to lead that. He's a consumer software product engineer from Silicon Valley, and he said he would take on leading that project. He then recruited a team of volunteers. They built out a product. But as he will describe, we discovered from testing it, there are two flaws in that initial instantiation, which was the user interface of the chatbot is very powerful. It seems like it can answer everything under the sun, like how should I deal with my wife, whatever it might be. And when we pointed at the transcripts, it could answer some questions really well. Since we have a large body of knowledge on prostate cancer, for example, it could answer just about everything you'd want to know on prostate cancer. But if you asked a question about ovarian cancer, it didn't have much to say and it would point you elsewhere. And so we had a gap there. The other thing Eric noted is that we want not to have 5 products and therefore 5 user interfaces. We want to have an integrated product interface. And so we should have one Cancer Patient Lab interface, one chatbot, one service. And so he identified that. So with that, I'll turn it over to Eric, and he can sort of describe briefly the kind of the history that took us through figuring out what our initial instantiation of the chatbot could do and couldn't do, what we learned, and then introduce it, or turn it over to Ari, who then took it to the next level. Eric?
Thanks, Brad. Hey, everybody. Super excited to be here. I'm one of the tech leads on Cancer Patient Lab, and as Brad mentioned, leading the chatbot initiative along with Kathy and Sanskriti. So what I'll start off with is just like a quick story of how this came about and why I was so passionate about it. So my mom has pancreatic cancer and she's recovering right now. And when she first got diagnosed, my dad spent hours just scouring the internet for anything he could find to help my mom. He stumbled on a video from Roger, who also was a pancreatic cancer survivor. And this one video set off a chain of events which was super impactful to my mom's journey. And that got me thinking, is like, well, how could we make that easier to find? Like, there's this corpus of knowledge on Cancer Patient Lab, which is super unique, and there's over 100 hours of videos and conversations, but most people don't have the time to go through and find the right video and find that one nugget that they're actually looking for. So the idea was, let's convert all these webinar transcripts and use that as a knowledge base for this chatbot, and almost use this as like a conversational search that can make it easy to find the right content that you're looking for, and then also give you a link to go watch that specific video to answer some of your questions, right? And that was like the main impetus. And the big differentiating factor between this and, let's say, like a ChatGPT, is ChatGPT gives you like the average of averages. And if you've heard any of Brad's webinars, we're trying to go beyond just the standard of care and talk about what are some more innovative, cutting edge treatments or philosophies that we should be thinking about. So in a way, by focusing just on the webinars, you get a higher degree of signal versus noise, depending on what you're looking for. So we developed it using a kind of prototype tool, and we're able to get a lot of good feedback. We're able to scour through, see what people are asking, what kind of answers they're provided, that we were able to provide. Do we have the right tone and the right kind of flow to make sure it's easy to use, easy to access and understand the different types of questions. And so we learned a ton there. Thank you everybody for trying it out, giving us feedback. And like Brad mentioned, we're starting to hit a upper limit of like what we can build with that kind of off-the-shelf tools. And we also wanted to cover some of the blind spots that just looking at the webinar transcripts would create. So excited to team up with Ari and the chatbot that he's working on. But like the main takeaway here is we're using some of the learnings and some of the big wins we got from this prototyping tool, and we're rolling it into like one chatbot so that everybody has one source of truth, or like one place to go to answer all their questions, and it will cover more than just what has been answered in the transcripts, and will also give you a more personalized, high touch interaction than like the mainstream chatbots like ChatGPT or potentially Gemini, etc. Right? So that's the vision that we're going after. I just want to give a big shout out to Sanskriti, Kathy, Brad, and Ari for the partnership there and like getting us to where we are. I'll hand it off to Ari to give a demo of like where we're headed and talk about what we want to accomplish next. But just super excited to hear everybody's feedback, and also iterate so that like people who are in my mom's shoes can then find the right information they're looking for more effectively and like have better treatment.
Thanks, Eric.
So,
can you all hear me? Awesome. Yeah, just echo the sentiment. Amazing working with Eric and Kathy, Sanskriti. And I'm going to keep us moving along. I want to ask a quick question though. Show of hands or whatever. How are you all using AI today? Just like curious if we could round robin. I want to make this kind of interactive. I'm going to do a demo and then take some Q&A. But just wanted to kick off with, are you all using AI today? If so, to what extent? Few no's, few yeses.
Not using it.
Alan, I know you are. Okay, awesome. I'm going to attempt to do share my screen and do maybe a 3-minute demo. And as just a little bit of context, what we've done is I shared a link for the Circle community. I'm pretty sure you all have it. And what we've done is embedded what we're calling the Navis AI chat, and I'll go into a little bit more detail about how it works. I'll show you a quick demo, about 3-4 minutes, and then kind of dive into some Q&A. Brad, does that sound about right?
Yeah.
Okay,
And
cool.
Alan has raised his hand. Alan, quick question.
Yes, I'm just reacting quickly to Ari asking for hands up on use. That's
Yeah.
fast. That's coincidental for me. I was just in the med staff lounge, and I canvassed people about whether they're using Insightly, and oh geez, I'm getting paged.
No problem. We'll come back to you, Alan. No
Okay,
worries at
sounds
all.
good.
Yeah, sounds good. Um, I don't know if the sound is going to pipe in, so 50-50. If not, we may try something else, but let's try it. Is the sound coming through?
What we're
No.
seeing is the Cancer Patient Lab community forum and Mike Troy, and we're not seeing the loom.
That is the loom, but
Oh,
it's but
okay,
you're not hearing the sound. Is that right?
that's correct. No sound so far.
Huh. Let me see if there's a setting here. I apologize for that. It's a little weird. Why is that happening? All right, let me try sharing a different screen. Let's see if this is going to work. And let's see if this is going to go. Anything?
No.
How about I do a
Sometimes
live?
one of the sharing works with the sound, the other doesn't. I don't remember which one, but if you share entire screen or if you share only one tab, and
Ah,
You didn't share the screen this last time.
yeah,
So
one
that's why you might not have gotten the
one of the
sound.
sharing you have an option to select share with sound, but I don't remember which one.
yeah, that's what I was looking for, and I don't see it. Uh, sorry, guys.
Yeah, it comes up like when you're using YouTube often, but I don't know if it comes up every single time.
Let me see, video file, your audio. Share sound, stereo. All right, I'm going to try this one more time, and if not, then I'll do a live demo, if not.
Screen sharing's not happening.
No, it's complaining. Screens, entire screen, share.
There we go.
But I don't think it's going to do the sound, is it?
No.
No.
I'm going to do a live demo and speak to it. It'll just be easier. Okay, so let me just share a different screen and then we'll be off and rolling. Stop share. And I'm going to pull up this and try that. Do you see the actual circle now?
Yes.
Okay, great. Is it big enough?
Yes.
All right, then let's do it. Okay, so this is the community, Cancer Patient Lab community. And what we've done is implemented the Ask Navis button down here. You should be able to go to any location in the any location that works. I guess that's the navigation thing we were discussing earlier, and pull up this Ask Navis button. And what that'll do is pull up a Cancer Patient Lab community chat powered by Navis. with some details up here. So for example, I'll just kind of orient you here. You have a kind of a welcome message with some instructions about how to get personalized guidance and some caveats. This isn't medical care and so forth. And what we have is, as Eric was mentioning earlier, a set of questions that one can ask. If you look down here, you'll notice kind of this glowing gear area. And so what we've done is collected a set of questions, actually many contributed from the Cancer Patient Lab community, in terms of, for example, questions I wish I had asked, things I wish I had known about, and actually had spoken with some of you one-on-one and literally just took those inputs and put it in here, which has been incredibly helpful. And so what you can do is there's kind of two configurations here. And this is, I'll just dive into those real quick. So you can change the cancer type, and you'll get, again, that set of questions. And you can also tune your communication style from simple, balanced, detailed research. And so it's kind of going from like a 7th or 8th grade level to like a PhD or a medical professional level. So depending on what you want, I'm going to stick with balanced. And then what I'll do is I'll explain a little bit about what's actually happening under the hood here. We're still working on the latency just a little bit with the implementation on the Circle site, so bear with us there. But a few things that maybe are worth saying. The first is that on the back end, we have a set of the different AI models, and there's different companies that do that, from Google to OpenAI to Anthropic. And so we have a way that we can vary which model we're using. The other thing that we have is that we've ingested, again, as Eric was mentioning, both the webinars, all the corpus of kind of webinar content that we have, but also the NCCN guidelines. And so some of the back-end plumbing that we've built in is essentially guiding the AI to preferentially pull, for example, from the NCCN guidelines. The other thing that we're doing, because AIs hallucinate, is we have an audit trace to ensure that any response includes, here, I'll go through the answer, but I'll just kind of jump down, which NCCN. We actually have a backend that actually goes into which part of the NCCN specifically. These actually should be hyperlinked so that you can pull them up, but that's a bug that we're still working through. So we have Cancer Commons, we have a few of the different NCCNs, and that's because we chose breast, so that looks reasonable that we're pulling those in. And just a little bit of context on the sources is we actually on the back end will tier them, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, depending on how trustable they are, for example. And we'll understand what's more and less trustable over time. But like the NCCN would be the default tier 1. We don't want to be pulling in kind of WebMD content that we like can't verify. And so with that, there's a few things to notice about each response. The first is we score each of these. I won't go into the overall kind of scoring rubric per se, but we have a set of dimensions that we score it on. We can just quickly actually look at the language itself. This seems reasonably human readable compared to, reading straight the NCCN guideline, for example. Going through and parsing the results, how the results will guide your treatment, if you have different biomarkers. So we're limiting it to the cancer type and the way that the patient wants to be communicated. There's a set of other personalization factors that that we've built into this that aren't readily available in here. So those are the ones that we're really optimizing for here. Some important next steps that one could ask. Importantly, feedback. So we have a way that we can actually put in, this is a test, and that'll tell us, was this a good response, a bad response, and we can get some color, context, and commentary from folks actually using it to understand, are we on the mark, are we off the mark, why, and we can have a learning system. And then finally, we have a set of sort of additional questions that one could ask given the context of the prior response. And so you can go that route, or you can just ask, you know, a question kind of free form about breast cancer. Tell me about the stages of breast cancer, making it up, and kind of go through it that way. So that's kind of a high level, quick demo. Brad or Eric or anybody else, what did I miss there? Or like
No, that's
what more detail could we go into?
I think that's perfect. And so we can begin the transition to feedback. Or because you're live now, we could ask, since there are a number of prostate cancer patients that are in the audience at the moment, if anybody wants to throw out a question, we could see how it would respond to that question, because we know that there's a good prostate cancer knowledge base to draw from.
Can I add one more thing, and then that sounds great, is this is, number one, really only possible, I think, with the inputs from communities like this to verify what we're doing. And so we really do take the trust piece very seriously. So with that, really, this is absolutely no kind of endpoint. This is finished, polished product. That's absolutely not what we're doing. This is what I see as a starting point on building a trustable system that can pull in sort of, let's say, bootstrap with kind of the current guidelines. But really what we aspire to, and I could go into more detail about the sort of ingestion pipeline on content and all that. I'll kind of not go into that right now. But the key is that we want to create a learning, self-correcting system using quantitative kind of dimensions. Those will also always be evolving, but we can evolve it in a direction that we can understand. And qualitative feedback from kind of the community, and then sort of sample expert feedback, looking at Alan Morris, like, hey, Alan, would love to have you gut check and calibrate the system. How is this doing? Does this seem reasonable, not reasonable? Is it way off the mark? And I think in that way we can move toward a more like trustable system over time. And really a lot of the genesis of the back-end things that I keep kind of talking about is that in building a product, we want to be able, it's so important because the AI landscape is moving so fast. Like I've never seen anything this fast in my life. And so I do not want to be building a product on quicksand, which is essentially what GPT-4 and then O3 and then this one and then that one. And how do you know that it's better except that the number is higher, or Sam Altman said it's better, or whatever? But we are focused on a very specific kind of domain, which is, you know, like giving answers to patients, cancer patients. And so we want to be able to measure and understand how good is this along specific dimensions, segmented by which model, you know, which sources are we pulling in, and so forth. And so it's the beginning, not the end. And so with that, would absolutely welcome any thoughts, questions, feedback.
Yeah. So let me structure this a little bit. I think Eric needs to leave soon. So I'd like to hear from Eric and Ari both. How are we going to capture feedback from the community? So what are the mechanisms? People want to kick the tires on it and give us feedback. Eric and Ari, what mechanisms do you think we should use? Obviously, one would be Circle. People could comment there. What are your thoughts about how you would like to ingest any feedback people have?
I'll give you two.
Well, or can I go real quick? So I have to jump.
Go for it.
Yeah, so two things. I think I'd want to broaden this out to not just about the nuts and bolts of the chatbot and using it, but also like what are hesitations that you or your friends might have in even using this, so we can address that in the website and the marketing and like how we position this. And then also the second piece of like tactically, how would we want to get feedback? I think, yes, the Circle community, we can start a thread there. We can also just, you can send, you know, feedback via the Cancer Patient Lab email that way. Or if you're willing, you know, I think last time we set up a really helpful hands-on like group session where we kind of broke into smaller groups and we're able to really understand the mindset and like what are things that are going to be holding us back in making this a successful product. So those are kind of my 3 points before I have to leave for another meeting. But I really appreciate everybody's time here and excited to keep working with you all on improving this.
Thank you again, Eric, for all that you've done to make this possible. Thanks so much.
I'll add 2 more tactical ones, which is we actually do have a patient WhatsApp group. We have a few folks in there, some folks that are part of Cancer Patient Lab, some folks that are not. And so that's a great way to get in-depth feedback. Actually, there's three ways that I would say. So that's one kind of live ad hoc WhatsApp group. Second, the most direct way is literally just going through the feedback. So we have kind of a thumbs up, thumbs down. We have some structured ways to to kind of tee off what's bad about it. This is a test. But we store every single response in the database and we score it and we evaluate it and we can audit every chunk of the NC. We call it chunks because we break up the NCCNs and kind of preferentially return them, or the webinars or whatever. And so we can trace every response to the qualitative feedback, to kind of how did that response actually get generated. So this is a super useful mechanic, just directly through the chat itself. And then third is we do have a document floating around with bugs and enhancements and updates, and I'm happy to circulate that as well for a little bit more structured way. So those are the 3 for me that are useful.
Okay, I'd like to be a little more aggressive than I am usually in terms of calling on some people to give some questions to just test the system here. And I know that I'm gonna say David Plunkett, Helen Connolly, Rick Davis, and then Alan in that order, because I think David, you just said, I haven't used AI, so I'm just like as a first time user, kick the tires and give it a shot. And then I know Rick Davis is very sophisticated and probably has a good question that he can ask that it will be a good test. And then, okay, I'll call on Alexander as well, and Helen, so we can and Helen, because I know she has other cancer in mind. She has her own cancer, which is not prostate cancer. And then I'll leave Alan for last because I know he can be detailed and more sophisticated.
Even though he had his hand up first, this is so
I know
unfair.
that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm being more aggressive than usual. So David, do you have a question to put to the chatbot?
Tell me about radiopharmaceuticals.
Oh, you want to put it? Yeah,
Sure.
Kick the tires. What cancer are we doing?
Prostate cancer is fine. But Brad,
Okay.
to your earlier point, really the closest I come to actively using AI is when I put a question into my Chrome browser bar and let that system bring up suggested responses.
David, I'm sorry to jump in. What was the question again? Radiotherapy?
Tell me about radiopharmaceuticals.
Got it.
I'm curious to see if it tells me anything about lead or copper.
Nice one.
The 2 things that come to mind that I would be looking for when I explore a little bit further is when information comes up and I look at the sources, does that get sorted by date? That's something I look for in my search engine responses, is what's the most recent information. And the other thing is I get hung up on I don't know what I don't know. So I would be looking for something that gives me related topics.
Yep. Should we ask? I don't know.
Let's just look at the response and let David see if this is us the kind of information you'd be looking for.
Let's have a look here. How they work, key, PSMA, PET scan, lutetium and radium, what the guidelines say. So yeah, this is stuff that we know about already, but it's not looking at what's being researched. So that would need a rephrasing of the question, I think.
Okay, let's do a follow-on, David. You said something about copper or something?
Yeah. Let's see if copper brings up anything related.
About copper regarding radio pharma, like that.
Pharmaceuticals. Close enough. Yeah, let's see what we get.
Yeah, let's see how. Um,
That-
do we want to go research, detailed, any like
Research would
detail?
probably be a better fit.
All right, let's go for it. My favorite is like tearing it down with you all. So like this is good. Okay. Um,
There we go. Clinical context, emerging mechanical considerations, 64 copper, 67 copper. Yep.
do
Okay,
you
so
know
this
any?
is
Do you know like? Can you evaluate this? This is
yeah,
this means
this is
nothing to me.
matching. Yeah, this is matching some of the stuff that I've seen mentioned elsewhere. So will this give me a link to the source articles that where I might learn more?
If the bug that I mentioned wasn't there, what should happen is it literally should be linking the exact NCCN, open up a new kind of PDF
Right.
with it. We have it on the back end. It's just it's wonky on
And that's
this
fine. I think that
iframe.
would be really helpful. Should I expect that to find anything that the Google search engine wouldn't find for me?
That I don't know. I haven't done a Google search on this. What I can say is that what we're trying to do, in a way, I think of it like you have boundary conditions. You have sort of like,
Right,
don't hallucinate and be wrong on kind of the
right,
downside. And then there's the upside of like, how far into the experimental new kind of frontier stuff do you want to go? We've kind of
right.
like been probably conservative, maybe on both sides. But we're saying if you don't have either right now, given the current kind
Yep.
of corpus of content, if we don't either have something um, clearly that we can point to in the NCCN guidelines, and we've ingested most of them, or
Mm-hmm.
any of the lower tier content. We have three tiers. We actually put Cancer Patient Lab. Sadly, tier three, it doesn't mean it's not trustable. It's just, it can be, like you don't really know. And so
Yep.
we'll go through and we'll upgrade each of them over time to tier one as, as we get more feedback. But if it's not contained inside that fairly narrow band,
Yep.
it'll probably be more limited, would be my guess, than what you would get maybe in Google, because we're trying again to be able to trace it through all the way and be able to be accountable to ourselves.
Yeah. Well, my searching has not been terribly focused. So I'll sometimes think of something and I'll put it into my Chrome search bar. Sometimes I'll switch over to the start page search engine, and sometimes Ecosia, and sometimes FreeSpoke, but that's usually just to see if I get different results or if they're tiered differently. So I am not very organized or focused in my explorations.
Yeah. Any follow-on questions you want to ask, just kind of while we're on the topic? All right.
No, that's I think gets me started with what I was looking for.
Sweet. All right. Thank you. All right. Brad, I'll let you kind of.
Thank you. Yeah, I wanted to go next to Rick Davis or Helen to ask a question.
How about Rick?
Jeff, was that who said how about me?
I said, how about Rick first?
Oh, okay.
It's Helen, yeah.
Go ahead, Rick.
So I have a whole nother discussion I'd like to get into after we've done this segment, but I have a simple question for the chatbot, which is please tell me about prostate cancer stage T3.
Prostate. Okay. Tell me about prostate cancer. One more time, Rick.
Stage T3.
T3, like that?
Yep.
Okay. Also,
It
where
should be
are
able
you?
to answer
I
it
see
because I think that Rick has raised this in a previous transcript. So if it's going to the transcript, it should have an answer.
Oh, that'll be good. It'll be a good test if
It's a good test.
I only just thought of this because I saw you looking at the stages for breast of TNM. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
can you evaluate this? I can't.
yeah, it doesn't bring out what I hoped it would, which is that typically we talk about T3A and T3B, but ACS has come up with a T3C, which I only learned about last year. And some of the docs use T3C. And it's not, I didn't want to give it the prompt of T3C. I wanted to see whether it would
Yeah.
tell me. But now let's see if it knows about
Is
T3C.
it, Rick, is it in the latest NCCN or is it not in the NCCN?
No, because NCCN only talks T3A and T3B, but ACS talks T3C, and some of the medical institutions talk T3C. So, we've got this extra stage, which is significant. There's a difference between B and C, and some people use it and some people don't.
I broke something. I broke the context. There's some context window issue. Hold on. This is why I love doing this. It got confused somehow, I think, because I was asking different questions. Let me do a thing here. Hold on. Let me just pull it back up. Sorry, let's go one more time, Rick. Prostate. So it said it didn't have that T3C based on the NCCNs, which I guess you're corroborating it shouldn't have, right? Tell me about T3C.
Right.
Yeah, this will be interesting.
So there is no T3C stage in prostate, but there is, and this is the problem. Brad asked me to come up with a question that would test it, so I did. And there is, and I'd be happy to send you something that I wrote in the reminder last year about T3C, just so that you can follow it up and see how you handle it. But
can I just ask?
Was it Car Talk where they had Stump the Chumps? I think it was. This is like Stump the Chump. Okay.
I love Car Talk, but
because you're doing such a great job here, I just want to tell you. But
hold on, can I ask you a question though, Rick?
Yes.
So we're clearly missing a source. Also, the guidelines are in some cases too behind. But my question is, where is the definitive source? For example, so that we want to update the content that we're ingesting. Where is that? Where would I find
American Cancer Society?
Okay, like their latest guideline?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I didn't even know that. I didn't know there was a T3C. And when it came up last year, I did my research on it. And I asked Len Sierra to as well. And we found out that ACS has prostate cancer guidelines. Who knew? And it's in the ACS prostate cancer guidelines.
That's fantastic, actually. So my takeaway is that number one, one thing that didn't happen is it gave a definitive, like kind of a definitive statement here, and that's not good because what it should be doing and what it usually does is according to XYZ guideline, right? So it's like leaving an opening that there could be a T3C rather than declaring definitively. But the second thing is that these kinds of things are so important because if you who are living this like all the time only recently learned about it, how many other people don't know about this?
Yeah.
Okay, let me keep us moving.
Thanks, Rick.
Helen, are you ready to ask a question?
Okay. Let's see. I'm putting it in the chat, the name of the cancer. I lost the chat.
I lost
okay,
the chat too.
okay, I got it. Okay. So that's my first question to see because I'm not even sure what to ask because it's very rare. There's not a lot of information about it.
Is it ovarian?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on just a sec.
So that's one of the questions I have.
Okay, did I get this? Let me move this. This is what we're asking, right?
Mm-hmm. That's one of my questions, because I think I heard recently that because I think in 2020 they added it to whatever document it's gynecological cancers. That's right. And so now they have to pay attention to it, but there's still very little information about it. So I was just wondering, and I heard recently that they may have updated something more recently, whether it's overall gynecological cancers or the specific cancer. So I was wondering if it had that.
Can you evaluate this response? I cannot.
Oh, I'm not seeing your shared screen.
I am.
Oh, you're not?
No, I am. I think it's Helen's problem, not yours.
Okay. I don't know. Can anyone evaluate this? I can't.
Brad, you're
not
sharing.
seeing it, Helen.
If you scroll back up, Ari, we can just read it to her, perhaps.
Yeah, let me.
I'm just seeing you guys. I'm not seeing. Have you been sharing it the whole time?
Yeah, we have. Is there another screen that you minimized? Maybe sometimes that happens.
Let's not solve that.
Okay. Go ahead.
If you could just go back up, Ari, a little bit. It says mesonephric-like adenocarcinoma is a rare subtype of ovarian cancer that was formally recognized and classified by the World Health Organization, their 2020 update of cancer classification guidelines. Here's what it is distinct. Mesonephric-like refers to cells, blah, blah, blah. It's a type of epithelial ovarian cancer, blah, blah, blah. It accounts for 1 to 2% of ovarian cancer. It typically occurs in postmenopausal women, ages 50 to 60. Key characteristics, what this means for your care, important, blah, blah, blah.
Okay. So what if I asked, like, how to treat when there's recurrence? What are the options?
What are the options for recurrence?
Yeah, after frontline.
After frontline treatment for the mesonephric like adenocarcinoma of the ovary. Okay, I'll just be kind of specific. Right.
I don't know why I'm not seeing you. I don't see, because normally I see you.
Sometimes if you minimize a window or a tab, it kind of
it's on full screen. Yeah.
Oops. Let me go down.
Okay, I get it.
Wait,
there are two screens. Okay.
Typically.
Okay, what should you do? I see it now. Consult your oncologist.
Wait a minute. This is weird. Because it had it a minute ago. I think, you know what's happening, guys? I know what happened. We have something called a context window that is very large when you're not on the Cancer Patient Lab iframed version of Navis. But if you're on the site, it actually is large. So I'm just going to ask that question again. I copied it.
Okay.
Let me just do this. That's a bug that Brad is not going to let me forget about because we have it for posterity, Brad. Okay, ovarian one more time. And hopefully I copied your question. Oops. Okay, hold on. I'm going to put your question in again. I apologize.
I'm watching the clock. We want to be going through these like 2 to 3 minutes each because there are a few more hands queued up here, and I want to finish at the hour. So.
All right. Go ahead and ask. I'm typing in her question while we.
Yeah. So why don't we go next to Alan? If you're still no, Alan's not there. Go to Alexander Lalov next.
Ari, I'm leaving up to you to structure the question. I haven't used AI so far, but what I need to know, at least from a year ago, I have a PSA continuously undetectable. Is it possible to know, is it due to the ongoing ADT or because of absence of cancer?
Okay.
It's kind of an impossible question.
Hold on. Helen, can I come back to you?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Sorry about that. Let's just.
Okay.
Let me just get to this one more time. Apologies. Okay. Is it Alexander?
Yeah, it's Alexander. So it's prostate cancer.
Prostate cancer.
Yeah. Prostate. Okay, and we said my PSA is undetectable, right?
Yes.
And then what was the
Continuously
second part?
undetected.
What was the second part?
Is it possible to know? Is it due because of ongoing ADT or because of absence of cancer?
Okay, let's give it a shot like that. Hopefully that's close enough. The short answer, and can you read that okay?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can just bump the size a little bit.
Guidelines for patient advanced stage prostate cancer. Okay. The Keisha is suppressive. Yeah. Actually, this is exactly what I expected.
Is that good or bad?
No answer.
Yeah.
That's what was expected. I think it's missing a fourth possibility, and that is that the prostate cancer phenotype is changed to one that does not produce PSA.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that's a good one. Oh, that's okay. So incomplete. I'm actually going to do feedback from you, David, because that's awesome. There's a fourth possibility, which is the cancer phenotype has mutated. Is that what we're thinking?
Yep.
Has mutated
To one that does not produce
to
PSA.
not produce, yeah, PSA. That is awesome.
That's the scariest one. So sorry about that.
Well, okay, so can we follow up? So there could be a fourth option where the cancer has mutated and does not produce PSA, we said?
I would simplify that and remove the reference to mutated. The issue is that the cancer does not produce PSA, whether that's new or to begin with.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but David, I would disagree. I don't think it's wrong. It says undetectable. And if your cancer has mutated, you're going to it's not going to be undetectable. You're going to see something, but it's going to be very low amounts. So you're not, it's very rare that you're going to see less than 0.0001 in a morphed cancer. Now, if it were neuroendocrine, even then it would be rare. It would produce something. And so I think
so it's an edge
I
case.
hear what you're getting. I hear what you're getting at, but I don't think it's totally wrong because it's saying undetectable.
Is a 0.01 considered undetectable? I don't know.
It depends on what the test is.
Exactly. It's, the problem here is, and it's the same thing with all AI from what I know, and I don't use it expressly, but once you get into the weeds, then AI is not as dependable. For overviews and what have you, it's great. But when you get into the weeds, it's a
It
problem.
doesn't know. It doesn't know what it doesn't know.
There's actually two things that I kind of like. I'm curious your take. That goes beyond what. So it I suppose did rightly kind of suggest that this is beyond the NCCN guidelines, and then that it's worth discussing with oncologists, and then genetic testing. I guess the question for this group is that would that be the right approach, genetic testing, or is there something else that
neuroendocrine cancer is one of the good answers for that one, and it's not mentioned, is it? Neuroendocrine.
I mean, that's what we're getting at. Is how broad an answer do we want to give here, and how much do we want to say about there are other possibilities?
Yeah, totally.
And it also needs to be, the reference needs to be to, well, maybe it might be right, genomic or somatic testing. And I guess genetic testing is a catch-all that includes everything, right? I'm never quite sure of that.
Okay.
Germline, somatic.
I wonder if we
in
type
the
the
interest of time, I
research, if
want
it
to go
would
to
come up
Jeff
more
Marchi.
specific. Yeah.
I want to hear Jeff Marchi's question, and then Rick Davis said he had something on a different, wavelength that he wants to raise, and we're almost
Maybe
out
we
of time.
take that after the recording. But by the way, just one thing to note, Brad, the bipolar androgen therapy cancer patient lab webinar came up.
Cool.
So
Okay,
nice.
Jeff, go ahead.
All right, I connected to your tool and asked the question, what are treatments are available for prostate cancer that's become CRPC and that is no longer works with an ARPI? And the answer I got back is the medical guidelines provided to me don't include specific NCCN prostate cancer treatment protocols.
Oh, then you have a bug, and this is the same context window bug that we need to figure out. So it's being stupid, basically. Can I ask you a question again in here, Jeff?
Sure.
Either type it in, or if it's long, or just tell it to me and
I'll just tell it to you.
Okay.
What treatments are available for prostate cancer,
Yep.
CRPC, if ARPI has failed?
CRPC, not CPRC.
Yeah, CRPC.
Yep. CRPC. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see.
Yeah, there it is. Oh, wait a minute. No, you got. Huh.
I wonder if there's another NCCN that we don't have that's
Yeah,
later
your
stage
answer.
that we have not ingested.
Well, I mean, I can help you. Yes, you have my I can help you a little bit on that. They're all in the same guidelines, but I think you've got to go down to like page 12, 13, 14. It seems like those later pages may not have been.
Yeah, it's weird.
It says,
yeah,
look, it says
it says we
advanced
have it.
guidelines. Yeah,
Yep.
but then it doesn't refer to it above. It says it's only referring to.
I'm gonna look at that one. I think I know what happened.
Okay.
Okay, then last
Hey,
question, Rick. You have the last word. What you want?
well, I have the last. I'm happy to take this offline
Wait,
because
did we
it's
get to
more
Alan? Hold on,
technical.
did we get to Alan? Did he
He's
get back?
gone off screen,
He's
so I
still
think
out.
he's not available.
Got it.
Yeah.
So I'll if you guys can hold on, I'll take it off screen because it's a bit. It starts to get a
Yeah.
bit technical.
Should we end the recording, Brett?
Okay.
And then if folks want to